Okay, so do I have everyone present for this very important meal?
Yes.
Okay. Hadassah, are you present?
I think so.
All right. Maggie's coming. Maggie's coming. So today for breakfast we are having some potato bits. Is that one yours?
I forgot it.
And mangoes and salsa and some goat cheese and eggs on our matzah, and with butter and honey, of course. But our matzah, we decided to just make 2 big ones, and we're going to split them. So I just want to mention, family, that, you know, sometimes this is like hard because it's like interrupts like the flow of things, but Papa is paying for this entire vacation. Papa got us here. He got you here yesterday. Maggie's home. Maggie's with us. Yay! Everybody clap. Yay! So I feel like it's important for us to give back to Papa and say thank you, and this is the way that we're going to do it this week. Because he got us here, he's paying for this whole thing, he's paying for all this food, he's paying for this lodging, he's paying for everything. So let's do what he asked us to do, which is put a dog at the table. Asked us to do, we're gonna eat of his son. So while we eat the matzah, and we're all going to take part of this. Let's just rate, we can do little bits, how about that? Are we gonna eat the matzah and eat of Yeshua at the same time? So what are we eating of this time? Yeah, I gotta glue that together. So we did fierce intentionality, fully human, extravagant generosity, disruptive honesty, scandalous freedom. Last night Hadassah and I did shrewd cunning. Today it's humility.
Humility.
I need another word there because I like how the other ones have 2 words. Fully humility. What's another word that we could add to that? You have flour on your nose. Talk about his humility, and let's think of a second word there. I think while we eat. So go ahead and dive in while we eat. Or while we eat of him. Okay, let me have, I'm glad you're here. Okay, his humility. This is a characteristic of Yeshua, his humility. It's a characteristic that is unlike the rulers of today. Would you say that the leaders in our world are humble?
No.
None that I know.
I know, right? There's some, Mary Souza in Idaho, she's on the Senate. I think she has a humble spirit. So I think there's some for sure, but...
Yeah, I guess I haven't met them all.
Yeah.
Let's see, no feigned humility, no self-exaltation, no self-obsession, no desire to be worshipped, and no arrogance. Wow. Do we know people who feign humility?
What's fame?
Fake.
Fake it?
Yeah, there's false humility. That's been a big thing. I don't know if it's still a fad, but it's been a big one in Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of standard operating procedure to fake humility.
Didn't Yeshua talk about like people that were fasting, which fasting is something you do to humble yourself, and they would go around looking like they were fasting and
Making themselves look miserable
right
on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone around knew that they were fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then self-exaltation. That's like the positioning thing that I just hate.
Mm-hmm.
Self-exaltation. He didn't do that, and he had every right to.
Right.
Yeah, if anyone had the right to do it, it was him.
I know.
He did not.
And then what about the self-obsession? Being obsessed with yourself. how you feel, what you think, where you are, what you got, what you don't got. The self. He was a leader that wasn't obsessed with himself. He had no desire to be worshipped. Go figure.
God had no desire to be worshipped.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, Yehovah Elohim wants all the work. You know, in the Old Testament, in the Tanakh, it's like pretty clear he wants to have the worship. Who did Yeshua say he wanted us to worship? It wasn't him, actually.
No. His father.
Yeah. Right? That's pretty telling. Because I think Christians really look at, they want to worship Jesus.
Right.
But actually, Yeshua was like, no, you're not, I don't want you worshiping me. I want you to worship the Father. Hence, there's 2 separate ones. 3 separate, I mean, like, that's a huge issue right there. Yeshua is not Yahweh or Yehovah Elohim.
Well, isn't to Christians, isn't Yahweh like completely like untouchable? Like, don't even mention his name kind of thing? Like, because he's like,
Christians?
he's the Father, like, you know.
Christians, at least evangelicals, tend to mash them all up into one
Really?
person that they call God and Jesus and Father interchangeably.
Yeah, there's not really a huge distinction.
No.
But
Yeah.
it's like when they mention Yahweh, it's like the Father.
It's like the Father.
But we don't talk about him, we talk about Jesus.
Right, well, the reason is because the Father in the Old Testament is portrayed as being super mean, and so the Christians don't like him. That's why they like Jesus so much, is because Jesus was, you know, gentle and meek and blah, blah, blah. But out of the Old Testament's a scary God, because he has all these commandments, and he's like mad, and he's angry with Israel. They might acknowledge that there's a Father and a Son, but they don't like the Father. No arrogance. He was not arrogant. I can't stand arrogant people. Okay, so he shares his suffering. Let's see, what else do we have written down here? Yeshua wasn't faking it when he took on humanity. Oh, that's huge. He wasn't faking it.
Right.
So he wasn't faking it when he took on humanity. So that's like, I think that's like a big thing, because I think people would like to make the Messiah out to be like, well, not human for one.
Right.
And so they make him out to look like something other than human. But he was human. He was completely, and that's the humility for him to actually take on humanity. That was Elohim taking on humanity in the most humble of ways, right? Like, that made him taking on humanity. Like, Yeshua wasn't faking it when he took on humanity. So
he
stand on that.
he wasn't pretending to be a human. He actually was a human.
Right, exactly. He bled, he cried, he laughed, he played, he slept, he had to eat, he had to poop, he had to, you know, he got tired, he got exasperated, he was happy, he was hungry, he was like,
Right.
he was human, and that's...
He was human.
Right, and so like Elohim descended, and in that descent, there's that humility. Like,
Right.
it was a humble act for him to descend from the throne to become human.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. He shares the stage with us. Oh, that's huge. So he's sitting next to Papa right now on the throne. But what does it say in the New Testament? In the Brit Hadashah, it says that he raises us up to sit next to him on the throne. He's going to share this with us. That's humble. Holy cow. To not just take all the glory, but he shares it. How does he share it now with us? Well, for one, he doesn't like to do things, you know, without humans involved. He loves to involve human beings in this war, in this battle. I mean, he could wipe out,
because it's like about us.
he could wipe out everything like that. He could change it. He could wipe everybody's mind. He could start over like that, but he doesn't do that. He chooses to share the stage with people. Then you have great people that he's raised up, Moses and Joseph and David.
There she is.
David. Yeah, so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he shares the stage. That's super humble. So help me with words when I'm not finding the words. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm here to engage the family in a conversation. So thank you. So if you guys can help me, that would be great. He ate every day. He needed sleep every night. He had to do his own laundry,
Which is an interesting thing. When I went to the sunrise service,
yeah.
she was talking about what did he do that day, which she had some interesting points, but she kind of made him out to be kind of like a weak person. So the fact that he had to have someone help him get out of the wrappings, or that he spent the morning folding his laundry, before he left the cave, he folded his laundry.
Oh my gosh.
Or the fact that he, since Mary mistook him for the gardener, he must have had dirt on his hands, so he had spent the morning gardening or something. And I was like,
oh my gosh. Talk about missing the point.
He's not. He's God. He's Son of God, not a person who has to have.
He's the greatest warrior that ever lived. He's going to be strong and strapping.
Oh yeah, I know.
And there's a reason why he folded that, but it wasn't because he wanted to do his laundry that morning. God. But when he was here, he did his own laundry. He did his own laundry. He didn't
Scrubbed it in
the
river.
He took on the limitations of humanity. He was humble and inviting. So Philippians 2:5-8 says he humbled himself and became obedient. So he was obedient. And he emptied himself. He shares his glory with us. Oh, what's this say? He who once rode on the wings of the wind now gets around only as fast as his 2 sore feet will carry him. He walked.
Yeah, walking everywhere, that's a humble act.
Yeah, he didn't. All right.
She's not taking my warning. There she goes.
I want that mango. Okay. So, we were talking about, before the phone died, the fact that he didn't hire a carriage to carry him everywhere, even though he is royalty.
He is royalty, and royalty in those days probably had horses. So
horses, carriages, slaves that they rode on. Yeah, whatever those things are called. Okay. Let's see. What else have I not talked about? He was a patient teacher. He's humble enough to really teach. Although some stories, it doesn't seem like he's too patient.
Well, you'd think that once in a while his patience would run out.
My patience, if I was Elohim, my patience would have run out, way back. Way, far back.
Far.
We're talking in the garden.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Okay. All right. We're glad Maggie's home.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, he came as Hadassah, like you said. Read what you liked. Read what you liked.
He came a baby. He had to learn to talk and walk.
Yeah, that's the part of the descending and becoming human. Awesome. Okay, so I think that's it. And then he drew power from Yehovah, from the Father. So he took on the limitations of humanity when he descended and became humble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he took on humility by taking on humanity, he drew power from the Father. And he took on the limitations that we all have.
Which is
Right, he can't fly. No.
what else?
He can't breathe underwater.
Yeah.
He can't.
Limited by gravity, limited by oxygen.
Right.
By...
Yeah.
I like the one that says that he who hung the stars had to be shown how to nail 2 boards together.
I love that. Read that again. He who hung the stars had to be shown how to nail 2 boards together by his dad. And yeah, we think that maybe his dad was more like a stonemason, but the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
He had to learn how to use tools, and yet he's the one that made everything. Okay, so the stories. So let's just talk about the stories that we got some of these personality traits from?
Long road to the throne.
Long road to the throne. Daniel 7:13-17. The coronation. He's going to keep the scars forever. He's going to keep the scars of humanity and humility forever. Which is another thing. Does he sleep at night now still? Does he have to eat? Does he have to go to the bathroom? He's still human. I think we forget that. In the original idea, your body was made to consume and use everything that you put in it. So the waste probably wouldn't have been there. At least not like there is now. I don't know. But at the same, so his body would be perfect.
Right. But in order for your body to function, you'd still need sleep and water and oxygen.
How it works.
He walked everywhere, sometimes for days straight.
That's right. He walked everywhere, sometimes for days straight. And then he was mikved.
Yeah.
And he begins his biggest work by including us. He invites the 12 into his band of brothers. Isn't that cool? Like he starts his ministry by inviting people to join him. And his character is exposed when no one gets him over and over. This proves his humility is genuine. He's silent before Pilate. He washes the disciples' feet. I think we could probably come up with a story after story. But, all right. Humble. All right, we're eating of his humility. Let's find another word to go with that while we finish.
Where's Google?
Yeah, I didn't think of one.
Let's think. We found the word. It's going to be authentic humility.